There we go. Hello and welcome to ICF South Florida Masterclass by Master Coaches. Today is Wednesday, May 7th. This is our afternoon session. Our wonderful guest is Amy Ruppert Donovan, and I am gonna maybe share screen. Looking all over the place, too many screens. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to start us off with announcements while people are arriving. Some of you may know, I don't know how many of you did I see there today at the business show in Miami. So it's being held at the convention center down there at Miami Beach. I was there. It was wonderful. And it will be going on again tomorrow. Once we get underway, I will pop the link into the chat in case you want to register to go. And next week is International Coaching Week. So our theme is inspire, transform, thrive. We literally have a jam-packed agenda. Between programming and outreach, we've got tons of stuff for you to do. Of course, it's all free of charge with International Coaching Week, so there is no cost for you. I encourage you to go check out the calendar. Zumba in the park will be Saturday. This is how we're going to wrap up our International Coaching Week. There will be a picnic. There will be Zumba. There will be lots of fun to be had. So that's going to be down at David T. Kennedy Park, way south. But anybody that is in that area, we welcome. Well, even if you're not in the area, come on down. Upcoming things, we've got Get Shift Done. Enunciation is important. On Tuesday, May 20th with Sophia Casey. She's amazing. I have heard rave reviews about this, that people actually are really getting shift done. Friday, the 16th, it's every third Friday of the month. We have Fernando Celis with the Barter Coaching Lab. We are also having new member orientation. If you haven't, even if you're not a new member, if you haven't attended the new member orientation, put it on your calendar because you can learn, even if you went to one a while ago, it's really cool. Like I forget what the club offers. There's so many things to take advantage of. And that brings us to Amy. Yay! So Amy has was as it says, a pioneer in the field of coaching. So she was doing the do long before I knew the do existed. So I got my MCC, a few years back, but she's had hers since before. You got your MCC about the time the school that I now run was founded. So wow. And she's just got such a generosity of spirit to come here to offer the bigger yes and all of the things that really are about well, I'm not going to say all the things because a lifetime, a whole career. Yeah, you can't do all of that in 90 minutes, but I'm going to stop talking and put my screen down so Amy can tell us more about herself because she's really going to bring us what is transformational in coaching. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Joanna. Thanks a lot. And thanks all of you for being here too. I understand it's late in the day, so I give you credit for that. Normally I'm in bed by 7 o'clock, so I always appreciate people who are willing to come at the end of the day. So yeah, I was asked to come and speak to all of you, and I thought, I haven't spoken to chapters in a long time. And it started me first thinking, like, how long has it been? It's been quite a while, but I go back. Joanna was talking about my background. I have been involved in coaching for 30 years, kind of in a Forrest Gump kind of way. You know how Forrest Gump always showed up in like these iconic moments in history and like just by no divine intervention or fate or anything, he just showed up, right? And that was me in coaching. I just kind of showed up on the scene and somehow kept getting put into places that allowed me the gift of helping to shape this industry. A lot of you probably have never heard my name. That's okay. That's good. I never placed myself in a place where I was, you know, in the who's who book or anything, but somehow I was always at the table. So one of the tables I sat at was to actually start the ICF chapters. I took on the role of helping to develop community in our profession early on in the early days. And so I flew around to a lot of chapters because we didn't have Zoom. We had telebridges at the time. And I flew around to a lot of places as chapters were developing across North America and then eventually into multiple countries, and had the gift of being able to meet coaches from all over the world and to actually help people become acquainted with what coaching was and what coaching was capable of. Of course, we didn't know at the time, right? I was at the very first, it wasn't the ICF then, convention of coaches in Houston. There was about 125 of us there, all thinking this is the greatest thing in the world. And what would really happen if everybody knew about this? What would happen to the world? And I have been blessed to see in the past 30 years how coaching has impacted the world in multiple ways. Some of them just extraordinary. We couldn't even have imagined how it would impact individuals, leaders, organizations, communities, how it would put things in our vernacular that we had never even thought about before. The notion of self-care wasn't, people would argue with that back when I started coaching. Self-care, what? We're supposed to help others. What's this self-care thing? And now it's something we all kind of subscribe to, and it's general in our collective thought that we put our own oxygen masks on first, right? Because we can't really help other people. But that was through the work of people like Cheryl Richardson, who wrote a book called Take Time for Your Life, who somehow wound up on Oprah 20 some odd times and becoming Oprah's coach, right? Laura Berman Fortgang was the first person ever on Oprah, and some different newscasts and things like that. So coaching grew exponentially while I was growing up with coaching. And because when I came into coaching, I was in my early 30s. I was very young myself and still struggling with my own insecurities and things. And so when, if any of you know Ilias Scultori, he is my business partner. We both own Prime Coaching Academy. And when Ilias told me that I'd be speaking here and said I can talk about whatever I want, I thought, well, what do I really want to talk about? And I looked down and I have a little plaque on my desk and it says, just say yes to the whole catastrophe. And it's taken from a quote by Joseph Campbell. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And so what I want to talk about today is that I always thought that coaching mastery was about skills, right? That we develop these, mad skills that we can coach better than anybody. And we somehow have the magic when we hit the level of mastery. And over these 30 years, what I've learned is that really isn't about that. It's about how much we can surrender to that catastrophe. And what I want to do with you guys today is to talk about what that really is. I'm going to take a second here. So those of you who are not on camera, you can do whatever you want, but I really prefer, since we have such a small group, if everybody could come on camera. If you can't, I get it. That's fine, or don't want to, but we've got a nice intimate group and I want to have a great conversation here. So I'm going to go out on the skinny branches with all of you today. So I hope that you'll do the same with me. So in this discovery of surrender, this is what I've learned over the course of 30 years, because really masterful coaching isn't about skills. Your skills will top out at some point, right? But the greatest coaches I know and have seen and met over the years are the ones that continue to push themselves into situations that create inner conflict. And I truly believe that we grow in conflict. That's where our growth comes from. And if we witness what's going on with our clients, it's almost always the case that somehow they're conflicted with something. And in that confliction, we begin to try to resolve that conflict. But in that resolution, we become more aware of who we are, and then we can make choices from there, right? That new awareness is what catalyzes new choices. And to be at choice is to be free, right? When we're at choice, we can choose who we want to be. We can choose who we want to be with. We can choose who we travel with and how we travel, and the things we do and become passionate about and let go. All of these choices come through conflict and surrender. So I've often referred to myself, and I'll just start with my own story. I've often referred to myself as a control freak in recovery. Back when I came into coaching, and even before, I was all about controlling everything. I still am. I still have an inclination to do it. I want to control everything. I want to control how the future is going to go. I want to control what people say, how they behave, how they react to me. I want to control all that. That desire never goes away. But when it was really at its peak, when I was not working through the conflict that brought, I avoided vulnerability at all costs. I wore masks to manage how people perceived me. I had a whole box full of them. I could pull anyone out at any given moment. I people pleased to a point of, nausea when I look back on it. I set impossible standards for myself that could never be upheld. I allowed my distorted and damaged beliefs about myself to influence my choices and behaviors. So as a consequence of that, I overreacted to criticism. I had a constant need for approval. I compared myself to others always. I had a low tolerance for discomfort and a runaway ego that masked my crippling insecurity. This was not easy to write this afternoon. I will tell all of you this, to put this list together. And when I look at it, I go, well, did that go away? Did I do something miraculous? No. I just lived into it. And as a coach, and every day practicing as a coach, asking other people to work through their own inner conflict kept forcing me to work into mine. And so I spent years trying to make all this go away like magic. I took this course, I read that book, I listened to this tape, I did all these things. And every time I think I'd have my leg up over it, life had a way of just continuing to dish up a hot plate of humility every time I turned around. And so every time, what I'm saying here, every time I started to feel firm in who I was and the conflict began to wane, something would happen. Some cosmic 2x4 would hit me right upside the head. And I'd be back where I started. And feeling like, what am I doing wrong here? I'm trying to do the work. I'm trying to do everything right. And yet I keep getting served these dishes of humility. All the while I was saying yes to all these things I took, that I got involved in with coaching, helping coaching grow. I was, helped start the chapters. I helped start the ICF in itself, the early days of putting it together, forming as an association. I sat on the committee where we wrote the original core competencies and put together the certification track and how we were going to measure the efficacy of that. I did a lot of things in these professions, not because I went out looking for them. They found me, and somehow I was in that place at that time, and they found me. Every one of them I entered into going, who am I to do this? I had no background in education or putting together programs. I chaired 5 global conferences for the ICF. I never chaired a conference in my life. I had no idea what was involved, right? But I kept saying yes. I kept saying yes. But I kept saying yes for all the wrong reasons. They were to help with this crippling insecurity I had, to get the acknowledgement I could never get enough of, to accomplish, to show I was somebody, right? But also while I was doing that, from my more dysfunctional side. My functional side had a passion for this profession that I, to this day, can't describe. And it's because I truly believe that coaching can change the world, and it has in multiple ways. We've all seen it for whatever time, even if it's a short period of time. Some of you have probably seen it in your own time as a coach. These 30 years in coaching, evolving as a profession, though I do believe we're only a dress rehearsal for what is to come. I'm going to repeat that, a dress rehearsal for what is to come. We are living in tumultuous times. I don't have to go through the checklist, but even if we take one thing, which is just technology alone, AI coming on the scene, we are essentially, as human beings, like toddlers driving Indy cars. Technology is evolving faster than we are, and our brains can keep up with it. So are other changes, social conditions, institutions. All of this is changing at rapid warp speed pace. And so I look at what we've done over the past 30 years as coaches and the impact we've made on the world, but I really, truly believe we were just learning and had our training wheels on. So the bigger yes is a calling to all of you to say, get it together. Because you're all going to be very busy coming up. And I truly believe that. I have witnessed and watched coaching grow from a few hundred people in North America to now over 140 countries, 50,000 plus certified coaches, right? An industry that drives billions of dollars of revenue every year. It's impressive where it's gone because it started from nothing. It started from an idea. A couple of people had an idea. And I was fortunate enough to know those people, to hear their stories, how that idea came about. And they too said, who am I to do this? Who am I to start something like this? And yet it kept growing. A lot of people called it a fad. It wasn't a fad. It never went away. It only grew. So there's something really right and really needed with what we do right now. I'm talking to all of you like this because I don't hear enough talk like this. There's not enough people saying, you know, I'm going to talk here for a second about what I call the little yes. I have so many notes. God, I can't get this all in this time, but the little yes is what we're all concerned with. Right? That's the stuff we're all distracted by. Get my certification, build my practice, my marketing, my this, right? It's what we all talk about. There's 10 million breakout rooms and talks going on in this industry a day about all these things. And it's important. None of this can be written off as unimportant. But one of the reasons I started a coach training school at this stage of my career wasn't for any other reason except I don't want us to lose sight of what this was always intended to be and what it can still become, is just becoming, I should say, right? And so that's what I want to talk about today, is that smaller yes versus the bigger yes. And the bigger yes, we will get into a little bit more. So we all have had life happen to us. And I was a master certified coach 100 years ago, and this, that, and the other. I've done a lot of coaching. I've coached a lot of people. I've coached a lot of senior executives. And I did my work, right? I said, I was always trying to get rid of that inner conflict and did my work and kept pushing myself to learn more about myself, to do my own work so I could ask more of my own clients. But this whole surrender thing didn't hit me until within the past 10 years. And I literally went through 5 years of my life that was, I had, just to put it very shortly, 12 life-altering situations happened to me in a course of 5 years, which included a divorce after 33 years of marriage, 6 deaths of people close to me. I lost my life savings in a business investment that was of no fault of my own or anybody else's. It just happened. And so on and so on. And I don't know if any of you are familiar with the movie The Horse Whisperer. Has anybody ever seen that movie? No. There's a scene in that movie where the context is that a young girl and her horse get literally run over by a truck, a tragic near-death accident. And she loved her horse, and the horse loved her and would do anything for her. And when this accident happened, they both went through months and months and months of physical rehabilitation. The outcome for the horse was that he no longer trusted human beings because he associated human beings with that tragedy and the recovery. So he wouldn't let any human being near him, including the little girl that he loved. She loved horses, loved to ride, but was terrified to ever get on another horse again. And so they called in the horse whisperer. And one of the things that he did, actually, I'd like to show to you because this is what surrender looks like. So I've got a little clip here that I'd like to play. Bear with me for just a second.
Hey, clean. Instead of focusing
Well,
on
you gotta
small
be in.
clients or serving individual consumers.
All right. Technical difficulties.
We're back with the author
Hang on.
of the book Prequel, now in paperback, Rachel
No,
Maddow.
can't get it off.
There are reports that they
All right. I had a big dramatic thing here. See how life just humiliates me constantly.
You are my spirit animal.
Oh,
You just
God,
keep
okay.
going because you're perfect.
No, I am. I'm going to show this to you. I'm bound and determined now. Hang on.
You know that thing about some people have a gift of falling in and coming up roses? That's
Yeah.
what I'm hearing here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get roses. Maybe petunias. But right now I have dead air.
Well, petunias don't have thorns, so I'll take it.
This is really Elias's fault because I sent him the link and I said, just you're the MC tonight, play this, would you?
Send it to me. I'll see if I can figure it out.
Where did he go? All right, you guys, this isn't looking good. I'm wasting way too much time. I'm going to tell you about the scene. What happens is the horse whisperer comes out and he gets in the ring with the horse and he takes a rope and he literally ties up the horse's leg to the saddle horn. So the horse is only operating on 3 legs. And he starts to lunge the horse around, you know, getting after him from behind. And the horse is he's hobbling. And it's a tragic scene. I encourage all of you to go look at it. But what happens is that the horse finally gives up. He just gives up because he can't hobble and he keeps falling down. And he keeps falling down. And finally, the horse just gives up and lays down. And with that, the horse whisperer comes over and he lays on top of him. And he puts his hands on his eyes, which is one of the, if you know horses, they don't like that at all. And so what he does is he just waits, and the horse has this awful sound coming from him of just this sigh of resignation. And then he tells the little girl to come over, and she's crying and she says, no, stop. And he said, no, this is the only way, because the horse was literally trying to kill people before this. And so with that, the healing occurred through the surrender. And it is to me, that's the definition of the type of surrender I'm talking about. It's the painful, wild kind of surrender that life will take care of for you if you keep ignoring it, if you keep ignoring those conflicts. And I know I'm getting really deep here, but honestly, I'm telling you this because this is where coaches need to go. I'm seeing way too much transactional coaching happen, problem, solution, without transformation. And the transformation is in these spots that nobody wants to go to, that nobody wants to embrace alone. And we are their witness and their companion in that. Now, I've coached CEOs, and I've had people argue with me and say, oh, you can't do that in corporate coaching. They don't want that. That's not what anybody's paying for. And I'm going to call BS on that. I've turned down a lot of work because they won't give me the freedom to do that. They want me to coach those results. I don't coach results. I coach human beings. And it's messy, and it's wild, and it's heartbreaking, and it's magnificent all at the same time. That's the catastrophe I'm talking about saying yes to. So, hey, you have to say yes to your own catastrophe first. And the catastrophe, the definition from Joseph Campbell in this is really, it's the joy, the pain, and everything in between the joy and the catastrophes. That you embrace it, that you live it fully, that you allow it to teach you. So now when people ask me what's mastery in coaching, I say you can be standing right in the middle of a poop storm with a notepad. That's what it is. Because if you're running from fear all the time, if you're running back, if you're pulling up short, you're not coaching those depths, you're not connecting with your client at those depths, you're only doing half the work. So I'm going to shut up for a second here, and I want to hear from some of you. What are you hearing in any of this?
Truth. Truth. And I bet you know Peter Redding.
I do know Peter quite well. Yeah. I
He's
love
my
Peter.
mentor.
Oh, he is. Tell him I said.
Coach for Life is, yeah.
Yes, I do know Peter. What else?
That should be the organic way to coach, the natural way to coach based on human beings, based on emotions, based on real challenges for human beings.
Yeah.
It's not about solutions, it's not about results, it's about emotions, it's about feelings, it's about self-awareness.
Mm.
So thank you for sharing all of this, Amy. I'm so fascinated listening to you. Thank
Anna.
you.
Well, emotions, I love that you use that word. Emotions are the language of the soul, whatever you believe. I use the word soul, but it is the language of the deepest core of ourselves. And if we're running away from our own emotions and reckoning with those, we will run away from our clients' emotions too, whether we think so or not. And that's why I'm encouraging this depth, this work with yourself. That has to come before anything. Who just came in? Somebody just came in. Welcome. I'll just say welcome. Hi, Erica.
I was on my cell phone and I couldn't unmute it. So that's why I passed to my.
Oh, good. Okay. So you're here. Great.
Yes.
All right. So, all of this requires us to get out of our way, right? And offer ourselves up to be in service of something bigger, right? So the central question here is, what if the work, in quotes, the work, the big work, begins when we do get out of our own way? That's when it begins. You know, I'd been messing around for about 20 years or so, but my real work began without me involved in it. When I went through all these things and I came out the other end of it. And so I'm sure all of you have had challenges in life, maybe some, you know, that were devastating. And here's the other thing I've learned. It's easy to then live through it and then kind of forget it again. So we have to keep reacquainting ourselves with it. We have to keep diving into the conflict wherever we're at that moment. Because what's required of us is radical honesty with ourselves, first and foremost, always. Radical compassion begins with ourselves and then out to the world and to everybody else. Radical curiosity about everything, always, especially ourselves. Radical courage to dance in the catastrophe and push out from there. Push out to something much bigger. Radical responsibility to embrace the mess, the human mess we all are. Radical respect for every damaged and exquisite part of ourselves. And radical fairness towards ourselves, always. Coaching was never meant to be safe. It was always meant to be a disruptor. It was meant to challenge systems, interrupt patterns, and call forth what's real. I don't hear anything in that about coming up with solutions and addressing problems. The problems and solutions are just the story, you guys. It's just the story that lives on the surface. It's the theater scene we get to work with, to go to these much deeper places with our clients. And so I want you all to remember that coaching was supposed to be a disruptor. And as it grows, I'm not seeing as much disruption because it's easy. And here's why I believe, and no fault of anybody's. Listen, we all need to pay the bills. That's the reality of this. We need to pay the bills. But here's my challenge to all of you, not at the expense of you lowering your standards about what you know coaching to be. You wouldn't be here if you didn't know how powerful it is. Not at that expense, okay? Because a lot of times organizations will be the tail wagging the dog. They'll tell you what they want from the coaching and what needs to happen. Don't for a second buy into that. You are the expert in coaching. You sell what you know is powerful. I've had CEOs get in my face because I won't do detailed reports about performance and things like that. No, not doing it. It doesn't sit right with me. That is a container, a protected container between me and the client. Right? And if the organization is going to spend money so that I can just run back and tell them what's going on or perform for them on their behalf towards the client, they're just throwing good money after bad. They're not getting the bang for their buck. So all of you are going to have to figure out a way to educate. That's what I did the first, not just me, everybody who was in this industry in the early days. We had to sell coaching. We weren't selling ourselves. Nobody knew what this was. So we were out talking. I was talking to hairdressers, small business association groups, anybody who would sit still long enough and listen to me. And so were, about 100 other people out there running around doing the same thing. so that people would understand what this coaching was. And has anybody ever tried to explain to a group what coaching is? It's about as much fun as a root canal. Because and in the early days, at least people go now, oh, yeah, coaching, I get it. Yeah, my nephew had one at work or whatever it is. They at least have some recognition. Back then, they kept trying to stuff it in a box of recognition, right? Oh, so it's like this, or it's like consulting, or it's like, that's why so many schools teach you right off the bat that, this, it's not like those things. And here's the distinction, right? That's one of the early things you learn in your coaching education. But everybody wants to even today still fit it in a box of understanding or something they've experienced. It's your job. You are all ambassadors of coaching and the power of coaching. And that to me has always been my bigger yes, is to make sure coaching is as prolific in the world as it can be. And that's been my bigger yes, is to go out and do all these things that I told you about that I did in the early days. Honestly, I was terrified. Each and every time I got asked to do these things, I was terrified. Always did the who am I dance, who am I to do this? Who am I to do that? All my insecurities would come raining down on me. But I did it anyhow, because I love what we do and I believe in what we do. And I honestly believe we are just in the very early days. We ain't seen nothing yet with what's possible here. So, how are we doing on time? Okay. Here's what I want to do, since we have a kind of smaller group here. Do you think you understand a little bit more when I'm talking about the small yes and the bigger yes? Okay. If you guys could just take a few minutes to think about, what am I doing in the smaller yes right now? Let's write down a few things. What's preoccupying you? What are you doing with that? Anifa's still writing.
It's not an easy exercise.
I know.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, who wants to start sharing? What'd you write down? I'm curious.
This first part, it was about the smaller yes, right?
About what?
A smaller yes, small yes.
Small yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Things like building your practice, getting your brand out, networking, all of that stuff.
Well, I have 3.
3? Okay.
Yeah, the first one is I afraid to be disruptor.
Hmm.
I don't want to seem like I am disruptor. I'm
Yeah.
afraid to be perceived like this.
Okay.
That's a smaller yes. Another, me in the center instead of the client in the center.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And focus on change instead of transformation.
Yeah.
So another different way to say it, to say result
Yeah.
instead of something bigger.
That's well said. Yeah. Thanks, Viviana. That's okay.
Yeah.
Good. We have to articulate these things to understand them first. That's good. Who else wants to share?
I'll go, Amy. But first of all, I want to say thank you so much for being yourself, because you gave a concentrated, undiluted, raw version of what it means to be vulnerable, and just face both the beauty within as well as the imperfection. So I just want to say that when I was listening to you, yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Hanifa. That's very nice.
So when
Acknowledgement.
I was trying to come up with my small yes, I think the first realization I have is over the coaching journey, actually the small yes has been evolving. That's what I first discovered. And I think what I'm noticing is perhaps my last recent years of small yes seems to be about satisfying the coachee or the sponsors. It's about meeting measurements, satisfaction. And there's a very thin line between encouraging and supportive. And I think that's the space what I just picked out as my small yes. And I think what I'm going to take away from today is what then does my deeper yes look like? I have some ideas, but I think this exercise is going to help me be even more concrete. Like you said, because growth is not linear. I think that's the other thing that I'm picking up. It's not linear. And yeah, how do I be comfortable with my own inner messiness? As I'm growing myself personally to be a greater coach. And that's where I'm sitting right now. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful, Hanifa. And don't worry, you're not getting out of here without writing down some about that big yes. We're going to be talking about that. So yeah, you're not going to escape so easily. But so that's beautiful. Those are beautiful recognitions. I love to hear you say that. And it's yeah, I hope I can get that across to you guys, because I remember that some of the stuff would happen to me. I'd be like, oh, I'm a master certified coach, like this shouldn't be happening to me. And yet it was. And so this is why I keep this sign on my desk. Just say yes to the whole catastrophe, because it's coming again, I'm sure, in some way, shape, or form. And it's not linear. I love that you said that too. Thank you. Thank you. Who else? Oh, look, you guys are in the chat room. Go ahead, Erica.
Here. I love the way that you allow me or help me to reflect more about these changes that we are living now. I'm working with middle and high schoolers, and so I work with them, and I can see the difference, no? The frustration tolerance, the waiting time, all the stuff that now with the AI, all the double lives that we're living. So it's like scary, and it's like very important to wrap the information in the way that the others can see it, and our young people. So just to listen to you is like I'm like I feel, I don't know, have you seen the Nemo, the movie?
Yeah,
That
one of my faves.
the crazy Dory that is crazy and nobody understands her. Sometimes I feel like that. I feel like I'm getting, I understand what I'm telling, and now it's like when I hear you, it's like I found other doors, no, that they are talking. So not everybody is like open to understand the importance of reflect, of giving us moment to practice mindfulness, to understand that is a crisis, give us it's like a quantic energy. We need a crisis to jump for the next cycle. It's like when teenagers, no, that from child to adult age. So we need menopause, our age, no, we need to pass that crisis to go to the next level. It's part of the transformation or whatever we can say. So when I'm working with my clients and we talk about chaos, I explain to them, I know that you don't understand me now, but it's like a metamorphosis. You're like a little butterfly, and you'll see when it's growing. So my little Jess is still working with this to be to not go away, to try it. I put it here to be humble, to work with my confidence, to be creative, because you need to explain to others the way that they can understand. It's not about me, it's about how they are taking that, no? I love emotional intelligence, so working with that. My parents were psychologists, both of them. I'm clinical psychologist, and then I did a master in education psychology. So my life is like,
Both your parents were psychologists?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, double duty.
I'm the only child, so imagine I was an
Oh, boy.
experiment of my parents. Still working with that. I would like that working with the remote, because I like now planning my next years. Sleep better. I need to sleep more.
Okay.
What else? And grow my coaching practice. That is like understanding now the AI, how to go there. Like it's something that I love it, but I need to understand. Like my little teenagers that they play video games, so I have to understand what is about that. So
Oh, but you're so lucky to work with these younger people. You know what I've learned, Erica, is that I love working with millennials, and here's why. They're accustomed to an uncertain world. They grew up in an uncertain world, right? Whereas my generation, and maybe some of yours, I don't know, was everything was certain. You know, you do this, and then you do that, and then you do that, and then this happens. And they have no concept of that because of the world they've grown up in. So I love to learn from them.
exactly, yeah.
Because
I talk to them that in my times we have encyclopedias. So they say, what is that? That's all the process. And yet we do the red codes for the active shootings in the school. So you cannot compare our generation with them.
All right.
Very complex.
Yeah. So, oh, I love what you have written down for yourself. Can I challenge you with one other word?
Yep, of course.
Courageous. Be courageous with these kids.
Yeah.
Just show them what courage looks like through your own self, because I can see it's in you.
Yeah, I love it. I feel
you wanting to get out of there. So.
Yes, I'll do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. What else do we have in the, let's see, who else has not said anything? We've got some people here. Let's see. Small yes for Anastasia is about allowing herself to take small steps forward, even if compared to others, it doesn't seem big or significant or like super impactful or perfect at all. Oh, amen to that, Anastasia. Yeah. That kind of sounds like a bottom line on that one is don't let other people define you. You go out and you be the coach that is inside of you that is calling to get out. Yeah, who gets to determine that? Big or small, right? It's the smaller things in life usually that have the most impact. So, or the things that are perceived as small. So thank you for that. Deep in the night. Well, that's all right, Anastasia. At least you gave us some good thought there, some good food for thought. And Joanna, your small is mundane Texas website marketing paying bills. Yes, we are all plagued by this reality of the things we have to do. And yet, I'm going to add a notion onto that. One of the things I realize I do when I don't want to wrestle my inner conflicts is I distract myself with that stuff. Oh, I have to do the taxes. Oh, I have to call my accountant. Oh, I have to, whatever. And they become lovely distractions when we've got that resistance going on. And there's a word that I haven't used yet in this talk, is resistance. And if you're looking for where your conflicts are, your inner struggles, your inner conflicts, because we become immune to them. That some of my conflicts have been going on my entire life, so you kind of become immune, or you don't pay much attention. They just kind of play in the background. But here's where they show up, is when you start resisting stuff, or when I get super judgmental. Yes, master certified coaches get judgmental. We have opinions, believe it or not. Sometimes pretty ugly. And part of the grace I give myself in this whole idea of surrender is, it's okay to go there, not cool to stay there. I can go there because that's where I gain the awareness. That's where I learn about myself. A lot of times, especially you get into this business, because we're in the business of human potential and moving forward and doing all these things, we make ourselves wrong when we're human. When I'm super judgmental, when I have the ugly thoughts. I was training a group of coaches today, and they were doing a practicum, and someone was getting coached, and what they put out there, I was hearing myself. I wasn't doing the coach, I was supervising it, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I'm getting all mad about what the client's presenting, and I'm having all these thoughts, and then I had to say, okay, stop. You're teaching now, cut that out. But then one of the things in the debrief, I said, was anybody else getting pissed off as you were listening to this? And I was like, yeah, we were. But this is one of the plagues in coaching. We don't allow ourselves our own humanity. And so therefore we're not recognizing our own resistance, right? And so the resistance will give you a roadmap to where you need to do your work to surrender. Joanna cleans house when you want to. Boy, I wish I had that problem.
This is why my house is always messy, because as soon as I start cleaning house, I'm like, what am I avoiding?
Never my go-to is cleaning. Never. So
that's what I know I'm desperate to avoid.
Exactly. So, okay, those are your small yeses. Here comes the hard one, you guys. What's calling you? What's the big yes that's calling you? The one that scares the crap out of you.
Probably to be judged.
To be judged? What was that, Sherry?
Yes, to be judged.
That's the big thing that's calling you?
Not the only, but the one I thought of that would keep you from not going where you really need to go to do the work, the deep dive.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. I was thinking that was the bigger yes, the bigger work you wanted to do. So, okay, now I'm understanding. Sorry. Listening. What I'm asking here, Sherry, and the rest of you, is what is that keeping you from? What's the big game for you? The bigger yes.
From doing the deep dive to the emotionalities where you really need to go in coaching to have the transformation.
Okay, so you're the bigger yes for you is to go deep within yourself. Is there anything now that going
and to surrender and be vulnerable? I mean, that's where it lies. That's how you get to where you need to go for the emotional abilities. That's the door you have to go go into, and so much opens, but it's protected, it's not so safe. That's the hard work. And I personally know that, but I'm wanting to know from you, like how you get your clients to get there. I guess you would say probably quicker. You probably have a method of your questioning, I'm assuming, to get there. To
So here's what I'll say about that is that the quicker method I have, the method is for me to push myself into those spaces. There is no method.
For you yourself to surrender and be vulnerable.
Yes.
And that it's like almost mirrors.
By doing my own work, by going into those places, by facing my own resistance, is what gives me the ability and the courage to do that deeper work with my clients. And
Understood.
with that said, so let's presuppose that you continue doing this work, you keep pushing yourself. And as I said earlier, is the real work begins when we get out of the way, meaning we're not constantly distracted, thinking about, invested in the smaller yes. When we get to what's the big yes? What's the big thing you want to do that's calling to you? We all have a strategy to play small. We all have that, right? Because it's safe to think that through. But I also know within each one of us, there is something that calls to us that scares us a lot when we touch it. And that's when we start getting filled with self-doubt, with all our old narratives about ourselves. That's when we start getting back in our own way. And what I'm trying to do here with you today in this question about the big yes, it doesn't have to be something extraordinary that the whole world stands back and goes, oh, you know, it may be that, you know, Erica works with young people, that maybe Erica's big yes might be that every single school has 5 to 10 coaches in it. Like, that's just an example. Or her local school, or her school district. Whatever your big yes is, there's no measurement to it. What I think about it, what Hanifa thinks about it, what anybody else here thinks about it, or any place else. It's your big yes. Where do you want to be the pebble in the pond? Okay, that's the question. Everybody take a second and write something down. Okay. Hanifa, Viviana, do you need more time? You're good? Viviana? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah.
So I want to hear from you. What's your bigger yes?
Well, it's just an idea. if I'm getting right, your question is, I had the opportunity to work within the organization for more than 22 years in human resources departments. And during all this time, it was really difficult for me to know how to manage the environment and everything that happened within the corporate. So when I became a coach, one of my goals, visions, or mission was to help leaders, professionals, and organizations to create a more compassionate and healthy places to work. So my big yes is still being what I call to bring the hearts to the corporate world
Mm.
and to put the vision in people's employees' well-being. So that's my biggest yes. My biggest yes.
I love that. I love that. And
Thank you.
where are you at in your relationship to that big yes now?
Well, during the last 12 years that I have been coaching, my niche has been corporate, professional leaders,
Yeah.
teams. So I think this is one step when I am clear the niche that I want to be working on.
Huh?
So I think this is one step, and I think I am in the right path.
Yes.
But I don't know how to answer that questions. I will need something like a scale and to imagine what is this big 10 and what I am in this scale. So I don't know. I need to do that exercise more in
Okay.
the.
So
But thank you for your question.
the stage it's at, it sounds like it's still an idea that's calling you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you
you're
for this wonderful question. It helped me a lot to think about what is this big yes and to picture the 10 and what I am in this scale again. I want to go deep in this.
good. Good. Because you know what? We need a lot more compassion in organizations.
Yeah, I know.
We need a
I
lot of
know.
compassion, period. There's a lot of work to be done there. So my challenge to you, Viviana, is don't try to figure it all out. Just go do it. You've got the clients. You're already in the arena. Just do it.
Okay.
Just do it. Let it be messy.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Who else?
I will.
I'm getting excited now. Okay. Who else? All right, Erica.
Okay, so my big yes is to be congruent, matching my actions, my thoughts, and my feelings. And something, my business name is Creating Smiles. So that's my mission, create smiles. So I'm working with wellness, with the social emotional wellness, directed for teenagers, couples, families. Could be like entrepreneurs, executives. So it's the same idea, but different targets. So every step that I do every day, I reflect in my actions because they have to be concrete. And I love my job because I have to, I teach a class in a university and the name is the Science of Happiness and Spirituality.
Oh,
If I'm teaching that and I'm working with creating smiles, so I have to learn how to be happy, how to create the happiness, because it's not something that we were talking about, the crisis, the chaos, the conflict. It's something I explain to my people. Like if it's a line, maybe 80% is injustice, is sad, is scare, is fear. and a little bit is happiness. So we need to learn how to create and expand that happiness. So
Yeah.
that's my big X, to continue, be congruent, to have those moments, because it's difficult to balance.
Yeah.
Give me that time every day. I meditate and I'm going everywhere that I go, like, to be transparent, to be like the person that the things that I'm saying is part myself.
Yeah.
And
Oh, sorry.
now from the scale that you were asking, I think I'm in the 8, 9. I'm like working very hard there.
I love that. Yeah. What will happen when you get there?
I will be happy. It will be,
Yeah.
yes, you know, the Maslow pyramid, you know, the basic needs, and
Yep.
the top is the legacy. Is
Yeah.
that something, even though you are not in this like world, no, you pass away, you pass in another moment, you get something to others, and they remind you. And so I want to create my legacy with my students, with my clients, with my family.
The
Yeah.
legacy of happiness.
Yeah, like, yes, to teach others how to be happy, how to take care
I
of
love
them,
that.
how to increase the mental health, how to self-care that we need it.
Yeah. I love that. Legacy of happiness. That's a great big yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who else?
I know I'm the host, but am I allowed to play?
Of course you are. And then Hanifa
Okay.
goes next.
Oh,
Is
no,
that
let Hanifa go
No,
first,
no,
and then
go
I'll
go
go.
ahead first. No, that's okay. Please go ahead. Yes. Yeah. And I'll speak later. Yeah.
So, fully stepping into taking over the coach training org that is going to be 30 years old next year, when I've only been a coach for 17 years.
That's your bigger yes.
Oh, yeah.
Peter School.
Yeah, Peter School. Yeah.
That school is a legacy in itself. So
Yeah, tell me about it.
good on you. Good
Like,
on you.
something that will like yay close to making me cry, because that school is.
Yeah.
When I got the email that they were closing, I'm like, no, you're not. I told you 10 years ago that I would take over the school when you were ready to retire.
Peter, yeah, those are big shoes to fill, my friend.
Oh, preaching to the choir over here. Thank you. Yes. Yes,
Oh,
those are
good.
huge shoes to fill.
Well, good on you. So that's a wonderful yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Hanifa.
I just feel my whole head is buzzing, but I'm going to just pick one thread for now, because I think it's stimulating a lot of thinking, Amy. So one of the things I'm picking up is, back in the corporate days, I'm extremely result driven. Give it to me, I will get it done, shine or storm or whatever, and I realize I carry that so much, not only into my coaching, but also into my life. And so it's about, reaching that result, reaching that destination. And I think one of the things, consciously or unconsciously, that I've been working on is that the journey and the process in itself can be as beautiful and wonderful and actually richer than just the results. And I think that is something I need to bring out into my bigger yes. And I think that's where I'm sitting, thinking here. Yes. Yeah. It's not just the pursuit of results, but it's the pursuit of all other things, which then naturally will bring you that results. Yes.
Oh, I love that. And do you know where the crossroads of resistance are in that for you yet?
Fear. And so that's why the first thing that I wrote down was breakout. Breakout. But I think it's different kinds of fear. So it's the fear of failure, it's the fear of not being impactful, It's the fear, and I think this is coming from, I will get it done, it will still be a good job, but I think it's the perfectionist streak that comes in. Is it good enough? And yeah.
Oh, I know all that messy stuff, right? And then going back to Sherry's point, right? We don't want to be judged. I mean, if we go out on the
Exactly.
skinny branches and we really risk it all and put that courage out front, and then somebody judges us, right? Or says
Yeah.
something really crummy and makes us feel small again, but that's a choice too, whether we accept that in, right?
And I guess I'm fighting within myself, because it's one thing when it affects you yourself. Yes, it will show up. But I think when I become conscious of how that limits the coachee that I'm working with, or the person that I'm trying to bring out into greatness here, I think that's something that I definitely want to work on. Yes. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Just tear it apart, Hanifa. Just rip that off and just go for it. That's great. And because you're almost there. You've got that recognition, So that I love hearing that. Yeah.
So
I have a sign on my refrigerator, which is of course the first place I go every day. And I'm going to allude to swear words here. I won't really say them. But it's got this lovely magical looking woman on the front, and she's got this beautiful, all these sparkly things all over, and it says, F off. I've got magical SH to do. And it reminds me every morning that, go away with your judgment, get out of here with your naysaying and you wanting to play small. I don't have to play your game. So it gets me all filled up in the morning when I see her. And she reminds me that I can play much bigger every day and with much more courage.
I have a follow-up question, because as you are taking these steps forward, so in some ways you are experiencing a new version of yourself. And that new version may not look like assertiveness, yeah, in different cultures. Assertiveness may look like it's aggression. It's being egoistical. So I'm curious of, how do you hold a space for this new images that may seem ugly? Yes, let me just label it ugly. Yes.
Well, I look at people like Thich Nhat Hanh, Pema Chodron, some of these people who bring this Buddhist groundedness to address some of the ugliest things in life, right? The way they talk about them. Learn from the masters. It doesn't have to be this assertive, loud thing. You do you, Hanifa. You don't have to be loud and assertive. You're internally powerful. I can see it on you already. Use that. Use that. And unlock other people's power that way too. This is not being somebody else. This is being you, the best version of you that evolves every minute and changes all the time, right? We talk a lot about authenticity in coaching. I believe authenticity is temporary. My authenticity at 17 years old is not my authenticity at 64 years old. Trust me, thank God. But it's always evolving, but it evolves from our core self. And in our core self is our most powerful, potent part of ourselves. That's when we can unleash that within us, we give permission to others to do that.
Yes.
You guys are writing a lot in the chat here. I'm a terrible double tasker. Thank you, Viviana, for that. Okay, I'm looking at time here. So what happens after we start stepping into that bigger yes? We become more expansive. Walls start to fall down. We have much broader perspectives, right? We can step into things more easily as we move forward because we just survived that one. So we can keep doing that. We can keep pushing out.
Each step gives leverage and momentum for the next.
Yes, absolutely, Sherry. Yeah. And one of my clients sent something really brilliant to me yesterday. It's in my 10,000 notes here. When he said it, because he was recalling some of the work we've done and he's just accomplished some amazing things. And he said, you know, I'm not sure how I got here. And I'm not even sure I should be here. And afterwards I reflected on that and I said, that's where I want to live all the time. Like always being in a, hey, how did I get here? And it's in that expansive living that as you're expanding, your perspective expands, all of a sudden you're in places like Forrest Gump, right? You're at the reflection pool and Martin Luther King is giving his speech. You know, when you expand, you wind up, you go, I don't know how I got here. And I'm not even quite sure that I belong here. I don't know if I have the cred to be here. That always keeps you in that space of pushing to the bigger yes. And so that's what I'm going to challenge all of you with, is to be in that space. We're also able to serve without needing credit or self-sabotaging ourselves to get away from it. Whichever way you go, we all go both ways. Some at different times, it depends. And last, I just want to say, I know this is hard. It's hard. Life is hard. But the reward is unmistakable. And if you're going to really be in this work, be in this work. This is it. And it's really easy to get, especially, you get a title like Master Certified Coach. It's easy to walk around with, I'm a Master Certified Coach, and I'm here, the sage on the stage, that kind of thing. It's real easy to hide in that and to not be vulnerable. But I find in the older I get, the more I've fallen flat on my face, the more I'm willing to be vulnerable because somehow I keep surviving. And in being vulnerable, I allow my clients to be vulnerable. I don't even have to talk to them about it. It's just in my way of being now because that's where I want to live. That's my choice. That's all the awareness I've gained from all the screw ups, mess ups, whatever, is to live in that space and keep pushing myself and don't get lazy and don't fall into that trap of complacency where you're all preoccupied with the things that I'm not going to say they don't matter, because you got to put food on the table. You got to put a roof over your head. You got to do these things. Just make the work as sacred as it really is, because it is. You're being invited into somebody's life to walk with them and witness. And I know I'm talking real woo-ish here, but I've been doing this for 30 years. And I can tell you, I've been invited into places and witnessed things in people that I could have never, ever, ever predicted. And it's every one of them have been an honor, a sacred honor to be invited into that. We get to do this work. And so the least we can do is to do our own work.
100%.
Yeah, I think I'm done. Oh, here's the last one. I want to say this one because I love this. Coaching isn't here to maintain the status quo. It's here to set it on fire in service of something truer. Thank you very much. Thank you all for participating and bringing your deep thoughts out on the table here with this. I'm so glad we had a small group so we could have a discussion like this. And thank you here for me being able to talk like this. I'm out on the skinny branches myself, but I want to talk more like this. I want to talk to coaches more like this. This is me pushing my bigger yes. That and improv. I started taking improv classes, but really, I'm a little vulnerable here saying all this because I feel like I'm on a soapbox and there's this little voice in me still going, well, who wants to listen to that? Like, that's all old stuff. It's all historic stuff. So that's just my confession. So I hope that you got enough that you guys start playing in that same sandbox for yourself, however that looks for you. Anything, takeaways? Anybody want to share? Yes, Erica.
Thank you. Thank you for the nice moment. And thank you all of you to share. And as you said, it's a small group, so it's enjoyable. Just confirming that we are in the good track, all the responsibility that we have and the permission from our clients to go in their lives. So that is something big. It's like, in my case, like just because I'm a clinical psychologist, when they say, thanks for that conversation that I had with you, I won't kill myself, no, something like that. No, that is super powerful. No, what else I want? It's like I'm there. So it's just to confirm that we have a professional career as a coach, in my case, psychologist and a coach, that we can grow and we can give to others as the way that you did today to us. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Anyone else want to share? Okay. So, Elias will yell at me if I don't do this. He'll probably listen to this and he'll be, I would not yell at you, but I have to do my shameless plug for Prime Coaching. We currently, in honor of International Coaching Week, we are offering a giveaway. We are giving a free scholarship to our level 2 program, which starts in late July. And there's a drawing for it. We'll be posting it on LinkedIn. But we're giving one spot away for either level 1 or level 2. And we're also giving away 2 $1,000 towards either one of those and 3 $500 as part of that giveaway and drawing. So that's in the spirit of International Coaching Week that's coming up. Yes.
Question, when you're talking about level 2, you're talking PCC, ACC?
Yeah. Level 1 is ACC level and level 2 is PCC level.
If we are PCC already, are you giving the level 3?
Good for you. Good.
I hope so.
But there's also another way to join us. Every month we have something called Prime Hour, which is an open invitation to anyone. It's free, and you get a half of a CCEU for core credit, core competency credit, and also a half of resource development. And what it is an open discussion. This month we talked about what's your why. That was my tee up to come into here. So, but we talk about skills and competencies and practice building and all kinds of things. And we have a really great group, and it's just an open discussion that Elias and I facilitate. So we do that once a month. It is listed on our website under extras.
Extras, okay.
Yeah, we'll remember.
What is your website?
It is primecoachingacademy.com.
Yes, and you can share us the link and I don't know, John, maybe you go. So you said that you give us. Thank you, John. Yeah, John, I hear that. Thank you.
In there.
Beautiful. You are fast. Super.
You are speedy, Joanna.
Yes. Arriba. So you said that you gave us CC hours?
Yeah, you get a half a CCE for joining. You have to come on, you have to be on camera, and you have to be on from the beginning to the end. And it's free. And it's mostly practicing coaches. Most of them are certified, some are not. And it's just a different place to come learn and also network to meet other coaches. So that's the whole thing. We've got blogs, we've got YouTube channel, we've got podcasts, we've got all kinds of stuff on there. So if you go into those extras, it's all in there.
Perfect. Thank you, Joanna. Share the link.
Good. All right.
That is awesome.
we are at the end here, you guys. And so thank you all so much for having me. This has been fun. And I've loved this discussion and I love hearing from you guys, all of you, what your bigger yes is. And don't compromise. Don't compromise for anybody. Go out and play that big game as a coach, what's in your heart and calling you. We've got work to do, kids. Work. Lots happening in this world. So, all right.
Thank
Amy,
you so much.
Amy,
Have
this
a
has been
great
wonderful. Thank
evening.
you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you. We so
I'm-
appreciate you.
I'll come back anytime.
Thanks.
Yay.
Please.
Will you come back and do a coaching demo for us?
I would.
Just
Yes.
asking.
That's a big yes.
Yay.
All right.
Yay. I
All
really
right,
appreciate
everyone.
you being here. I put the information in the chat. If everyone would take the survey, I would really appreciate it. It's great feedback for us as ICF South Florida, and it's always great. Our speakers always want to know, what did people say? And if you don't go to the feedback and fill it out, I can't tell them. Amy, thank you.
You're so welcome. You're so welcome. And good luck to all of you on your bigger yes.
Same to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
I'm going to come back and watch this anytime I think AI is going to take over coaching, because AI
Oh,
cannot
stop
do
with
this.
that. No, if
It can't. It can't. AI cannot do this. So thank you
can't
so much
replace
for being
human to
here.
human interaction, period. But that's okay. They can try.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right.